You can use cones to create a lot of really simple drills that are effective work on cornering, carrying your speed, coming into a turn with speed, carrying it out of a turn with some speed. The simplest way is with a progression just like everything else, so you might start one at a time. I've created a 90-degree turn with the cones sort of expanded on the actual road here. So every athlete comes up to the turn. There's a set cone to start a little speed, and then they have to try and carry that speed through the corner while they're sprinting a little bit. So it's tricky, and they do it one by one to start. The instinctive thing to do is hug the cones as tight as you can, because in your mind you're thinking, I want to keep a tight line and not lose any ground. But that's not necessarily the best thing in this case. Doing it alone first also kind of builds up your confidence and gets you familiar with the course, so it's a good thing to remind athletes that, hey, you might want to practice this the day before a race, or maybe during your warm-up you don't want to just ski everything once. Sometimes it's really good to pick some tricky corners or some tricky spots on a race course and really practice them over and over until you find the fastest way to approach it, not in the race itself, so you can go in knowing. So all these clips so far just show a real-time speed and a half speed to sort of get a sense of where everyone's coming into the corner, how they're taking it, how aggressively they're skiing, and how they're exiting their corner, and try and pay close attention to how much speed they're carrying throughout the duration. Now I go through the first time without saying anything and just see how people approach it, and then the next step is to talk about different ways you might take the corner. For example, wide, narrow, wide. Starting out a little bit wider than normal, not just hugging the cones, hugging that inside cone and then going wide again to actually carry your speed through the whole apex of the turn. So it's really easy to see here, pretty much one for one, every single person is going a lot faster the second time, coming out a little wide, then cutting in, and then carrying their speed out a lot better. So part of it's confidence with the course, and part of it's knowing how you're going to approach it and maybe thinking about the wide, narrow, wide aspect. Next, of course, is to do it as a big group so that you really get out of your comfort zone even more, because most of the chances are you're going to be in a race and you're actually going to have to do these sort of corners with other people around you, especially if it's in a sprint heat. But even in a distance race or an interval start, you're always having to navigate, and if you can stay calm and you can stick to your plan and you can take a corner well despite the traffic and the chaos, you're going to save a lot more energy and go a lot faster in the long run. Once everyone's conquered their fears with the uphill cornering, we start to get a little more crazy with a funnel shaped series of cones around a corner, and you have to maintain your speed through the cones and also try and fight for position a little bit, trying to stay within those cones. So this one definitely challenges your roller ski comfort zone for sure, and then, as with everything else, most productive thing is to start building into doing it as a group, because that's what you're going to see on the race course. So regardless of how sketchy it might be, and there was a first aid kit right behind that guardrail, it's always challenging, and you got to put yourself in new situations.